All right. What's going on, party people? This your man Griff here. Um, just want to talk to y'all. Earlier today, I sort of had a little rant. Not apologizing for it. No, no, not apologizing for it at all. Had a little bit of rant, and it was based on, as I stated in there, since I've been a notary and a notary signing agent more specifically. It's like every other month, every couple of months, a person will just pop up out of nowhere and start talking about how unfair pay is and we're not getting paid our worth and all of that. And personally, I think it's more centered on that individual because they're coming and saying we aren't getting paid our worth, and how you work, how you value yourself and the worth that you place on yourself is different than another person. So to come online to do a video or a Facebook post and then to claim that we as a group aren't getting what we should be denotes union, denotes trying to collaborate together. And many people have come to me over the years, especially long before I got on YouTube, saying we need to unionize and we need to do this. And I'm like, you're not going to get every notary to do that because you got to not just look at the loan signing notaries or the notary signing agents, but also the non ones because they're also out here and they could say they want more pay. So I hear a lot of people talking about we need to know how to communicate our worth. And a lot of people don't know how to communicate at all. So if they don't know how to communicate in written form, verbal, they're going to have a hard time telling a signing company who they're really only dealing with for a few moments that I'm worth $150 per signing. I mean, when you say I got to tell them my worth, you have to know what your worth. What is your self worth? You have to value yourself to a certain level. So in the description, I put down a couple of links, one about self worth, one about, communicating your worth. And then there's a video from a lady named, I believe her name is, I forgot the lady's name. I think her name is Casey Brown. Yeah, Casey Brown. And she gave a very good speech, TED Talk, about 8 minutes long. And one of the things that she talked about in there was when it comes to knowing your worth or figuring out your value, you have to tell, you gotta, there's a couple of things you have to do. And one of the things is what are your job needs? You got to figure out what the needs are at the job and how do you go about meeting them. You got to update your skills to make yourself better qualified for different tasks. What do I do at my job that no one else can do? Okay. What am I an expert on? What problems do you solve? And then which problems did you solve for your companies in the past? And that last one is key. What problems did you solve for your company? And let's take it to the step of signing company. What problems did you solve for the signing company in the past? They contacted you 8 o'clock at night and they told you, look, we got this last minute signing. We are tapped out on what we can pay you. All we can do is pay you $85. Can you go do this? It's like 20 minutes from you from what we see on the when we did the search. Can you knock this out for us? And you're like, well, nah, I ain't going out my house unless it's $100. So they had a problem and you failed to solve it. They had a problem and you failed to solve it. And you think that's communicating your worth by saying, I'm not going to help you, pay me $100 and I will help you then. That can work every now and then when a company is truly pressed. But if they're not pressed, or when they're no longer pressed, do you think they're going to select you? And the answer is no. So what are the needs of your job? What are the needs of these signing companies? To get dependable, reliable notaries. One of the things the young lady talked about, Casey Brown, one of the things she said in her video was simply this. She did some work, and she's a pricing consultant. She did some work and realized that she was undervaluing her work. She wasn't getting paid properly for what she delivered. Now, note what she said. I wasn't getting paid properly for what I delivered. So she actually did the work and delivered it over a period of time, not just oh, I did this one part of the project, but over time I delivered work. And she said, I'm not getting paid properly. So then she looked at what she was doing and she made an evaluation based on past performance. Many of you out here do not have past performance with these companies, and you're not putting yourself in a position to have past performance because you won't take any current work, because you're saying I only work for this dollar amount, and you're worried about getting paid for every little aspect of being a notary that is there. I had to get a pencil, pay me. I had to get paper clips, pay me. I had to go buy another pack of paper, pay me. And you're trying to get paid for every single thing that you do rather than actually doing what you're supposed to do. Now, repeatedly, I've said, stop focusing on just this document presentation of being able to study the documents and memorize the documents and communicate what's in the documents. You got to be able to notarize the documents. And many of you are struggling with that. You're struggling with that mightily. And if you're struggling with that, which is the key factor in being a notary, then how can you really communicate your worth? One of the things that she's also said in that, and what you can really pick up, is that based on her past performance of what she did for this company, she had a track record. She proved that she was worth more. What I've seen in the notary industry, there are just flat out companies that are going to always pay below $100. Then there's companies that are always going to pay below $80. That's just the way it is. And you spending energy and heartbeats on trying to make a company that is their business model to pay 60, to constantly try to make them pay you more, is fruitless. Getting a company that typically only pays 75 or 80, and there's several companies that do that, is fruitless. And unless you have something truly to offer them. And many people right now, many new people, you don't have a whole lot to offer these people. Some of these $75 companies, when I say I want 100 just to see if they'll give it to me, they don't give it to me. If I say 90, I get it. Not all the time, but I get it some of the time. I mean, very like some of times. I mean, it's not like, and I'll say 90 and it's like crickets, nothing. But I took time out over 2.5 years to build my worth, build my reputation, build my skill set, build my knowledge of what's going on in this industry, so that people could see there was value in hiring me. The best way to communicate your worth is by doing stuff correctly the way it's supposed to be done, far and above what anybody else is currently doing. That's why a couple of weeks ago I made a video about y'all um changing your profile. I think I'm gonna link it over here, somewhere like there. I'm gonna link it. Yeah, there we go, over there. Um, so there's a video that talks about, changing your profile and updating your profile, and it's in the community tab also. That same information. Communicate that you're different. See, you're just saying, well, and see, a lot of people communicate their worth, or think that communicating worth is about, well, it costs me to do this, and it costs me, and it costs me, and it costs me, and because it costs me, and it costs me, it costs me that much, then I need this much. And they're like, okay, do the job. And then you struggle doing the job. You can't do the job. You don't know how to do the job, but you're saying, I want that. And you're saying, but it costs me this much to get that done. Okay, but the quality of what you're giving me is worth zero. That's where we're at with some notaries. That's where we're at, even on your jobs. And my concern also is that some of these people who are talking about, not all of them, not all of them, some of them, they're talking about it because they themselves have concern about their worth at their W-2, or when they did W-2, or in their family life or somewhere. And because they don't feel valued, they don't feel that somebody recognizes their worth, you may be trying to come over into the notary world and then trying to say, okay, I'm gonna get my worth. I'm gonna get what I believe I'm valued at now. One of the things that the lady Casey Brown said is, nobody's ever going to pay you what you're worth. They're going to pay you what they think you are worth. So you got to change their thinking of you. How do you change the thinking? You change the thinking by performing above and beyond what they expect. But as I've listened to notaries, and as you listen to them in these different Facebook groups and YouTube channels, nobody's talking about being a high performance notary for it's doing your actual job. They're talking about doing all of these extra things that really notaries probably shouldn't be doing, taking on the role of an escrow officer or a title officer, or acting like they're a loan officer and doing all of this extra stuff. And a lot of different people say that, okay? It's just not one person, it's multiple people who say that. And I've been hearing that for the whole nearly 3 years that I've been a notary signing agent. That is like, man, if you do this, they'll pay you more. Take on this and they'll pay you more. I mean, I've heard that many, many years ago, really not many, just 2.5, well, almost 3 years ago. And I'm like, okay, but why do I need to do all of that just to get paid? Well, they'll pay you this, but if you do all of this, okay, well, am I supposed to be doing that? No, I mean, not really, but it's just nice if you did that. Or if you do stuff this way, it'll just make it better for them. They'll be appreciative of the fact that you did that. So you want me to take more time out of my time and day to do some extra stuff to appease them or to make them feel good. And there's no guarantee that I'm going to get anything in return, but it's just something that I should do to possibly show them that I'm different than everybody else. And my mindset is this: I'm going to show you how different I am by the work that I do. That's my difference. That's the difference maker for me. Because there's somebody who can be smarter. There's somebody who almost might be more handsome than me, might be richer than me, all of that. Not that I'm rich, but I just use that term. The issue is this: can you perform when you're supposed to perform? And if you cannot perform when you're supposed to perform, then you're really, in my opinion, not worth anything. So if they need me to do something, then I need to be able to get it done. And that's how I survive in the W-2 world. I was never the smartest. I was not the most committed, I'll be honest, to certain things, to do some of the butt kissing and all of that. That wasn't me. But they knew that if they say, hey, here's a problem that we have, Griff, can you solve it? And I would be able to solve the problem. I was able to get in there and get the job done, thus get the pay that I want. I went and see, when you talk about worth, you also got to look at, and somebody posted in a comment was talking about, a $40 refinance and all of that. You got to also keep in mind, which I have not heard anybody talk about, but you got to look at cost of living. And in some places, the cost of living is such that they don't think that you need to make $95 or $125 for a signing in order for you to live comfortably. If the cost of living is low, then they're like, okay, this is what we value the cost of living, and this is how we're going to give you, we're going to pay you accordingly. When I was commuting, I worked for 4 years in Maryland. I drove from Virginia Beach on Sunday and stayed up in Maryland and came back on Friday. And I did that for 4 years straight. came home every weekend except for two, and my family came and saw me. Well, two. One of them they came up to saw me, and the other one I was actually in Florida at the time working on a project out there in Tallahassee. So there was out of 4 years, there was only two times that I did not go home to be with my family. One of them they actually came up to me, but technically I only missed out on seeing them one time on the weekends out of 4 years. And I was getting paid up to at least $115,000 a year. And the reason why I was up there because the cost of living in Virginia Beach was quote unquote stated to be much lower than Northern Virginia, and the money that I needed to make, I couldn't make here. So I had to go somewhere else. What makes it difficult is as a notary, if your cost of living and where you're at is low, you can't just hop up and go to another state and say, okay, I'm gonna be a notary over here unless you make this whole full transition move. But you can shift companies. And one of the ways you can shift companies is by getting more business under your belt. And as I got more business under my belt, I was able to see other companies started taking notice of me, and then they started paying me. There are companies out there who don't have a problem, who are built and are structured to where they can pay you $110, 150, 125. There are companies out there, but you have to meet their qualification and they will pay you accordingly. I've asked people to tell me and to define to me how you would communicate your worth, and nobody has really been able to do that verbally, except to say, and what they're saying is, well, I'm an on-time notary. I pay attention to detail. I accurate, and I double check my work, and I drop documents off on time, and I'm very professional. Okay, that's everybody in SnapDocs. That's everybody in SnapDocs. But then at the same time, some of these same folk, they say, well, I'm not getting any orders, I'm not hearing anything on the phone, I'm not seeing anything. How do I go about getting more work? I said, you got to take the orders during the time that nobody else wants to do them. Oh, no, I can't do that. No, 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 no. I ain't gonna be out there at this past time of night. I ain't gonna be out there this time of the day. I ain't gonna be out there on the weekends. And it's all of this what you are not going to do. And I'm like, so if you're not going to do any of this stuff that other notaries aren't going to do. So in other words, you just put yourself in the same category as them. The only difference is that you don't have as much experience as them. So therefore, you're not going to get the orders. So a person who has 250 orders under their belt over the last year, and then you're coming in with 50 signings under your belt, and you're going to be like, well, I'm only going to work this time, that time, and the other. The person who got more signings on you can probably has more leeway to do that than you, but you're unwilling to do what is the unglamorous, unsavory stuff, or doing a signing 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, doing a reverse mortgage, doing loan applications, doing debt settlements, doing loan modifications. No, I don't want to do that. No, 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 no. So therefore, you skip out on all of that, and then you're trying to figure out why nobody will pay you, why you can't get any business, because you haven't proven that you're willing to go out here and work. You're not proving any worth. You're not showing them that you have value and that you can add value. When clients call me, I find a way to add value to them. What is your problem? What's going on? And then I find a way to solve it. Somebody called me and they have a signing on Friday. It was a direct client. And I was like, okay, gotcha. No problem. I'll make it happen. I will find a way to make it happen. And I did. So I got this signing for 145. Boom. I'm like, okay, cool. And they were looking for me specifically. They got me. I'm gonna make it happen. Not a problem. You tell me what you want done. Okay, that's what we need to do. And that's what I do. I get a call 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. If I am truly able to accommodate it, I will accommodate it. If I can't, then I will suggest somebody else. I find a way to make sure that I'm doing what I can. and that helps show my worth. Then I'm on top of that, I get the job done correctly. I don't make any mistakes. And if I do make a mistake, I own up to it and I get it done very quickly. So if I'm able to correct it quickly, I own up to it, that adds value. And then they're like, okay, you are a notary worth dealing with. Why? Because of these things here, because of these qualities that we see in you. People are just, you're new. They don't see any qualities in you yet. And to show them your qualities, you got to take orders. And if you don't take orders, how would they ever know that you have any value? How would they know that you are actually better than me, than Griff, at doing the notary closings? But they won't if you don't ever go forward. So that's why earlier today I was sort of fussing about, people keep keep posting these things about how much notaries aren't getting paid when you keep seeing these interviews of people making over $10,000. And I'm like, so if they're making 10,000 plus dollars a month, somebody got to be doing something right. Somebody has to be doing something right. And what is that something right they're doing? It's a wide variety of things. So that's why I keep saying, stop listening to those people complaining. And the sad part is that people keep stirring up stuff. And then when you ask them, what's the solution? How do we resolve it? How do we get this fair and equal compensation that you keep alluding to, but you won't directly say, oh, I ain't got nothing to say about that. So nobody is willing to take on the mantle and teach and educate and direct people. They just want to make a statement so that everybody gets all riled up. You get all riled up, and then you're like, well, I ain't doing nothing. Well, while you're not doing anything, those people who's got the thing started, that got the disagreement or the frustration going, are sitting up there taking orders and making their money. It's that simple. It's that simple. Period. So I don't get it. You're stirring up stuff and you're unwilling to provide a solution to the problem. That's like somebody telling you, yeah, you got cancer, or yeah, you got a broken leg, or you got some other ailment. And then they're like, okay, that's all I just want to tell you. And then they're not willing to do anything to help you fight this thing. I mean, if you got an illness and somebody said, well, yeah, you got corona, and then just leave it at that and they walk off, it's like, wait a minute, isn't there something you can do? Isn't there something? You got me all stirred up. Well, based on the markers, you might have this. Okay, if okay, then what do we need to do? I'm just telling you, you might have that. Was there anything I can do to fix it? Yeah, but I'm not going to talk to you about that. You figure that out yourself. I'm just saying that these indicators say that you are at this point, or you got this going on in your life. Well, is there a cure? Oh, yeah, there's a cure and there's a way to fix it, but I'm not going to tell you. That kind of stuff has to stop. People got to stop stirring the pot and getting folk riled up. And y'all got to stop letting people get y'all riled up unjustifiably. And you got to think about what people are saying. They're saying this, and then you got to think about it and analyze it and say, well, is this even correct? This doesn't make sense at all. And call them out on it and challenge them. I tell y'all, challenge me. I don't have a problem with it. But it's sad when somebody who doesn't like to be challenged is constantly always saying stuff out there that's challengeable. And it has a lot of bull in it, but that's what's going on. So I understand the importance of knowing your worth. You have to figure that out for yourself. Stop trying to include other people in your evaluation of what you think you should get paid. If you get paid $100 a signing, more power to you. If you get paid 150, 200, more power to you. Do you. Be willing to do you. Sorry about that, y'all. That little focus thing. Let me fix that real quick. There we go. Do you. Don't worry about, and I appreciate the comments that people put in the in the last video, telling folks, do you stop worrying about, we're all in this together, we got to get together, we got to do this. No, we don't. I'm good over here. I'm good. And many other people are. But if you keep running over here on this side of the fence, asking us to come help you out over there, and we good. No, you go on do your thing. Well, no, I got a chance to get, $200 a signing. Don't you want some? We good. You go ahead on. You go ahead on. We good. Well, I mean, it'll work better if all of us come over together. No, it'll work better for you. You want to do that. So you go do it. You figure out a way. Leave us alone. We ain't got time for that. We over here chilling. We got ours. Now go get yours. And I ain't mad at you. But them same people will be upset if all of a sudden you join in their parade and hop on their bandwagon, and then next thing you know, you banking and they're still not. They're gonna be upset with you. They're gonna have problems with that. So all I'm saying is, like I keep saying, there's some roads you don't need to go down, and that is one of them. Leave them folk alone, leave them to their own devices, and you'll be fine. But I just want y'all to take a look at the videos down there, the one video down there, and read those articles to help you understand how to communicate your self-worth. And I think you'll be okay. I'm really, really am confident you'll be okay. It's that simple. So that's it, y'all. That's all I had to say. And again, I appreciate y'all. Really, really do. Y'all have a good night. Peace.